Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Crown Royal Truck Series for their second doubleheader race of the weekend. We're here for the McCafe 300 at Chicagoland. In yesterday's truck race, we had action, thrills, and scary incidents from most of the field. It was a great race and we had a great battle to the end with Alex Peters taking home the win, and we have 31 drivers that finished on the lead lap, giving the invert to Ronnie Hank Racing and Austin Delgado starting on pole in that 52 truck. Qualified the slowest on speed, but of course was bumped up one by Priya McShane. He starts this race on the pole. And Nicky Morris started this race fourth in qualifying, had a crash that cost him. He finished 30th yesterday. He's going to roll off second today. Sebastian Kukulon for Gemini with Matthew Brown, Irving Allison and Logan Bradley. Priya McShane and a good chance for Aiden Smith to keep some track position. Then you got Tip Foster and Daniel Kobza. Looking the rest of the way through, Colton Lane was up front. He had some speed earlier on in that race. Got Vargas, Zach Rogers, who came out with some great finishes. Eric Monaco's there. And all the way back here in the 31st position is Alex Peters in that 45, who won yesterday's event, locking himself into the chase. Roger Ray in the 84 sits back there. Those three were the final three that finished the race. Backup trucks for all six drivers, but one big thing to note, Jose Perez in that 35. They have Charles Sanford on standby here this weekend for Jose Perez. He is diagnosed with a sprained ankle and a fractured toe in his left side. He will be driving that 35 truck hoping that nothing else happens, but he did say to his team he wants to race this race because he needs to get those points in the wild card hunt. He sits sixth in points right now. He needs to get spots so he doesn't fall and take a wild card spot. He does not want 2 years in a row to be cost a chance at a championship. Anderson Reed was also checked and released from the hospital much quicker than that. Reed is okay. He's back in the truck in that 36th position, but we will keep an update on Jose Perez if they will indeed go to a backup driver here in this race. 40 drivers, 41 laps in this event, same as yesterday's event. We'll see what'll happen here at Chicagoland. Should be one pit stop in the race. The points format and the points talk we'll talk about when we get on this pace lap. Let's go ahead down track side for the commands to fire the engines here at Chicagoland. With that, the engines are fired in the McCafe 300, the second of the doubleheader races at Chicagoland to decide our regular season drivers. Fighting for the chase is going to get underway. As it stands, you got three drivers fighting for the regular season title, those being Yves Sperletube and Antoine Smith. Antoine 40 points back, but only 9 separates Yves and Sperletube. That's going to be a close fight all day. Alex Peters, Ryan Butcher, Jose Perez are the other three pretty much locked into the show. Monaco and Johnson hold the final 2 point spots with 0 wins. Onjak, Kobza, Downey, Bright, Hagen can all point their way in. They have 0 wins, but Stephen Wallace Jr. and maybe Aiden Smith can also point their way in. But must-win scenarios right now for Fletcher, possibly Vince Freeze, Matt Sladek, Jesse Turner, and Patrick Smith. As it stands, though, Aiden Smith, Stephen Wallace Jr. hold the final 2 wildcard spots. They have the race wins. If SWJ points his way in, then you need a win to get into the chase, and that could open up for Freeze. If Aiden Smith drops behind Vince Freeze in this race in the points battle, I think it's about 17 points separating those two right now. That could put Freeze in and Aiden Smith out. So you got a lot of drivers fighting for spots that they can. A lot of teams trying to get themselves into the chase. The final 41 laps of the regular season is ahead of us here in the Crown Royal Truck Series. Delgado and Nicky Morris lead us down. Green flags in the air. And the second of the doubleheader races is live at Chicagoland. Already immediately up front, it's already splintering off. The 75 Gemini Racing, Sebastian Kukulon 75 truck falls back. Delgado's not even going to lead lap 1. I don't know if he's going to be top 5 when they come out of turn number 4 here as they get real close up top, but it looks like everyone's going to be clean down the front straightaway. 3 abreast for the second place position as Nicky Morris checks out in the 7. Irving Allison's going to try to clear into second. Delgado now trying to take third. Brown and McShane back here. These two eliminated from chase competition, but they could still win. We got a lot of drivers, though. The big thing about the Chicagoland doubleheader, it throws a major wrench in the plans of all the teams, because if you have a good finish in the first one, you have to drive through a massive field to get back up, as Zach Rogers is going to be the one bouncing off the wall there. And Irving Allison already starting to drive that 01 truck right up to the back of the 7. The 01 truck is no slouch. It's doing much better than the 16 in owners points. It's been running up front in some races this year. And Irving Allison, a very fantastic competitor. 2-time truck winner last season, 3 times in his career. He's gone to victory lane, all 3 of those with SBR. But he's up in second chasing. And there is the Chicagoland 2 winner from last season, Priya McShane. She's in that full-time 2 this year. In third, Brown 4th, Bradley 5th. Kobza in 6th. That's a big man in the points battle. He's 10th in points. Seated just 7 points behind Austin Johnson and Eric Monaco. So this is a big day in points for him. Alex Fletcher, he'd need a miracle to point his way in. A lot of drivers would have to fall out real quick, but he could still do it. He could still win this race to get himself in as well. And you see the 82 up the middle. Patrick Smith is pretty much the last driver in the field that could win this race, but he'd still have to beat Freeze and Aiden Smith by a pretty large margin to get that second wild card spot there in that 94. And there is Aiden Smith, as there is your points leader. Matthew Eves already moving that 48 truck towards the front, and we're 3 wide up there with McShane and Bradley. Irving Allison has taken the race lead away from Morris already. And looking to the back, there's Fitzwater. Look at some of the chase contenders. There's Antoine Smith. Looks like he might just be settling for that 3rd position. Jose Perez. Again, there is a caution crash in front of him. It's Matt Sladek right in front of Perez in the 35. And that is 3 trucks in it. Sladek, Butcher, and Hagen. Good thing Butcher, I think, is locked in, but that could put him into a wild card position instead. As they come through the corner, Irving Allison will lead the field back around, and we have our first crash of the day. And Matt Sladek, he was competing for that wild card position. He sits 18th in points. I think that's going to end his day. And 6 of 41 complete. We're around for the first caution of the day. We'll see what the pit strategy is here. And it's going to be a shift in it. Daniel Kobza is going to be the first one. Looks like track position for a ton of these drivers, but Alex Fletcher stays out. Kobza brings it in. See the 75, the 52 stay out, so they're looking for that track position. Zach Rogers going with a split strategy there. As there goes the rest of the field coming on down, so we'll see what strategy calls this is. I don't know if it'll be 4 tires, 2 tires. You're definitely going for some fuel here. Definitely topping off that truck. And we saw yesterday the fuel window was about 30 laps or so. Maybe 30-ish laps or so. So you're looking at this, could make it to the end. This might not. We will see. But as they come down pit road, you got Daniel Kobza bringing that 44 back out. Here comes the 90, 83. So everyone's going to bring themselves back out. We got a ton of trucks that stayed out, though. Irving Allison, Nicky Morris, Matthew Brown, Priya McShane, Logan Bradley, Alex Fletcher, Sebastian Kukulon, Austin Delgado, Zach Rogers, Diego Yepes, Evan Hunter, and Roger Ray all stay out. So some big positions gained there. Ton of trucks still on pit road with damage. We're going to go ahead, take a quick replay, bring guys back to the action here at Chicagoland. First incident of the day, Stephen Wallace Jr. drives right into Matt Sladek, puts the 0 in the wall. Now these guys are packed up behind him, nowhere for Butcher or Hagen to go, and real close on Jose Perez in that 35. That's a dangerous situation for the driver, that 35, after his crash yesterday. But Ryan Butcher, this could cost him big in the championship. Might cost him a ton of spots in the points. Larry Hagen pretty much out of this one as well as Matt Sladek. All 3 cars around here, but on board with Hagen, as that 25 just had nowhere to go. Hagen, Sladek, done. They had to win this race to make the chase. They will not. Ryan Butcher also torn up here at Chicagoland. Back live here at Chicagoland, McCafe 300. Irving Allison leads over Nicky Morris, Matthew Brown, Priya McShane, Logan Bradley, your top 5. Alex Fletcher, Sebastian Kukulon, Austin Delgado, Zach Rogers, Diego Yepes, your top 10. Evan Hunter and Roger Ray, your top 12. They all stayed out, who came in with tires and fuel. Kobza, Stephen Wallace Jr., Tib Foster in the 90 picking up a ton of spots. Colton Lane, Dusty Neal, or Adam Mitchell, sorry, in the 82. Matthew Eaves, Eric Monaco, Gatlin down to your top 20, and the rest of the field through here. Looking back through some of the points, guys. Jose Perez out of the 35 truck. Charles Sanford will be in it as Larry Hagan has an issue, a flat tire on the 25. They did the driver change under caution, so it is Charles Sanford in the 35 truck now to finish out this race, though Jose Perez will receive the rest of the points for starting the event. That's the only reason GDI put him back in the 35 truck after some vicious hits yesterday. Antoine Smith near the back, so is Jesse Turner, Peter Onjak, Austin Johnson, and Riley Spurleytube. Still a long way to go in this one. Irving Allison leading them down over Morris, Brown, McShane, and Bradley. Top 5, green flag in the air once again at Chicagoland. They come down the back straightaway. Irving Allison jumping out there. Now remember, last season it was a caution with pit strategy that got RER out in front and got them the race win. Maybe that's what some of these guys are trying to do this time, but Nicky Morris jumps right back to the inside in that 7. He is fighting for what he needs to there as he takes the lead away. Now you're going to see these guys on fresher tires. You still got to get by the slower trucks. You still got to get by the slower trucks that are on older tires as well. 2 and 3 wide now as Eaves is going to be the one held up by Roger Ray there in the 84. And that's big because there is Spurleytube right at the back of that one. You see Peter Onjak back there as well. Onjak needs to outpoint that 77 by a rough margin, as now they're going to be 3, maybe 4 wide coming off the corner. Everyone's shuffling here in the mid-pack as they try to force their way towards the front. And here we go down this front straightaway again. 2 and 3 wide in the middle of the field. Tip Foster stuck in the middle there. He's lost a ton of time since that restart, being shoved back by some of the slower trucks as the field is fighting for these spots. And up front, we're still having a fight for the race lead. That's Morris, Irving Allison, Matthew Brown for BGM. They're trying to replicate what RER did last season. Alex Fletcher in 6th. He wins this race. That's a big change to Aiden Smith's outlook on the chase because he'd be out of it with Fletcher outpointing that number 83 as it stands. There's Yepes. Here comes Monaco in the 4. He is trying to lock himself into the chase with just a good finish. He has the points needed. He has the points buffer necessary entering this race. He sits just 10 points ahead of Peter Onjak, which isn't much, but he still is pretty much ahead by a large margin over the 97 and 77 and pretty much everyone else outside of that points buffer here as they run. There you see Sanford in the 35. He's already up to 30th. They did it under caution, especially seeing Perez almost in that incident. They don't want to injure him for the chase or re-aggravate an injury that he is resting right now, so he is on the sidelines. Alex Fletcher up to 4th. Look at Zach Rogers in the 9. He stayed out. He's getting pushed by Yepes. Rogers is in a must-win scenario. Well, he's actually not in a must-win scenario. He's fallen all the way to 23rd in points with a very horrible second half of the season so far for that 9 team. There you see Colton Lane. He can't do it either, but he won this race last season. He won the first race last season of the Chicagoland doubleheader to put himself into the chases. There you see Monaco. He has those fresh tires, and he is charging towards the front with his teammate Daniel Kobza ahead of him. So Kobza trying to outpoint the 77 as the 4 of Monaco is trying to stay ahead of everyone and get himself in. And Matthew Eaves pretty much locking up the regular season title right now in that 48 truck. As, whoa, Peters and Foster getting real close back there. You saw him kind of slide to the inside, and Foster almost washed up into Vince Freeze as well. As it stands, Kobza is over Austin Johnson in the point standings. That'd be Kobza in the show, in the chase with Johnson and Onjak out. Both of those guys fighting near the back, and there is Spurleytube, and as well, that's Antoine Smith, Aiden Smith there in the 00 and the 83. Jesse Turner at the back. Looks like his championship hopes are done, and so is for Larry Hagan in that number 25. We're actually going to have to view the minimum speed here, because even if it is Nicky Morris out in front, that's 191 into the corner. Hagan only hit 174 there, but the back straightaway is much slower than the front straightaway. So 191, you're looking, that would be, I think, 176. So right there, Hagan does just barely meet minimum speed in the 25, so he is off the damage clock now in that 25 truck. Just wanted to make sure we had nothing like that, because we saw what happened at Daytona. But here is Alex Fletcher now putting himself to the point. If he wins this race over Aiden Smith, Aiden only sits 13 points up on Fletcher. That means he'd have to finish probably top 5 on Fletcher if Fletcher was to win this race. Now remember, he's part of the crew that stayed out under caution, but if he does win this race, if caution falls, everyone pits. 46 could be in the chance for a race win and putting himself into the chase as the third Orange Auto driver. They already have 2 right now with Monaco and possibly Kobza as it stands. And Kobza could easily win this race, him and Monaco, on those fresher tires than everyone else. Again, we don't know if that crew will be able to make it to the end on that one pit stop on lap 7. But as it stands, they have fresher tires by 7 laps than most of this field. You got Kobza, Monaco, and now Matthew Eves and Stephen Wallace Jr. charging on up. So those guys are the ones to watch as this race goes on. But if you're saying anything, it's probably going to be the 48 taking home the win. That truck is way too fast at these 1.5-mile tracks. Irving Allison's dropped back a ton. There is Austin Johnson, though. He's starting to close in on Peter Onjak. Aiden Smith, he doesn't care, really, as he's going to get into Freeze! Dumps Freeze into the wall! And that will be, that's for the chase right there, because Freeze was in the wild card hunt with Smith. And Aiden Smith turns Vince Freeze in front of the field to try to ensure him a chase berth. He was 3 wide, though. The 35 was on the inside of him. I don't know how much room they had there. We'll take a replay, of course. That is crazy. And Matt Sladek was also far off the pace. We're going to have to check his minimum speed, actually, in the Zero truck. But this changes everything now. Those guys that stayed out are definitely coming in. And those guys that came in, I think no matter what, unless you're at the back and need points, like even Vince Freeze, I'd probably risk it at this point. If you're Patrick Smith, maybe Riley Spurley too, but it's going to be a pretty even split here, it looks like, up front. But that's mostly what's coming down right now is who did not come down on that opening pit stop. And I think that is going to be it. So the majority of the guys that came down or stayed out under that caution, yeah, that's going to be, we got 12 trucks on pit road. That's the 12 that stayed out. So the only drivers coming in are the ones that have not pit yet. So it looks like everyone is trying to make it to the end of the race. A green-white checkered screws that all up. But Aiden Smith gets into the 60, turns them, and that, Freeze was 17 points, entered this race, actually 16 points behind Aiden Smith. They were 1 position between each other, so that's all right. But Smith gets real aggressive, and that could lock him in to the chase. However, now that Austin Johnson is getting up towards the front, even if Kobza wins this race, that could mean Kobza would be taking the wild card spot, and with Stephen Wallace Jr. running good. So if the 44 wins this race, that'd be new. You also got the 98 here. You got the 19. He could win this race. So the 19 and the 44, as it stands, could win this race, still not get the shot, and eliminate the 83 from the chase. It'd be the 98 and the 44 or 19, so we'll see how that goes. We got a quick replay to take a look at before we come back and see the finale of this Chicagoland race. The wild card fight comes to the biggest moment of the season. Aiden Smith goes right in there and turns Vince Freeze in front of the field. The 60 stays up top, does not get hit again, but that is going to cost Vince Freeze probably his shot at the chase as Aiden Smith gets in there and turns the 60 around. We're under caution for the second time today. Back live here at the McCafe 300. A little early just to talk about what we're looking at. Kobza and Monaco leading the top 2. Monaco is 7th in points entering this race. A good top 5 finish. I mean, pretty much if he finishes top 5, he locks himself into the chase. Daniel Kobza wins this race, could punch his ticket to the chase. Eves is trying to lock up the regular season title. Colton Lane, Eli Bright could win this race as well. I forgot he's 13th in points. Lane is out of it. He's looking for just a race win. Stephen Wallace Jr. wants a good points day, put himself into the chase with the wild card spot. Downey could be a must-win scenario. Austin Johnson is the bubble driver in the chase right now, sitting 8th in the standings. But I think Kobza might be ahead of him right now, so Johnson's going to have to pick up a few spots to get himself in to the postseason. Adam Mitchell is part-time truck in the 82, so is Tib Foster. Those two just out here for race wins. Alex Peters won yesterday's race. Could he sweep the doubleheader? Peter Onjak here in the 97 might have to win in front of the home crowd to get himself in, as Aiden Smith just crashed his biggest rival in the chase right now. Fight for the chase right now. He's up there. Antoine Smith as well. There is Charles Sanford. He came in to swap out for Jose Perez, who was trying to nurse an injury that he sustained in yesterday's event as well. Riley Spurley-Tubes fighting for the regular season title. Max Anderson, Vargas just looking for race wins. Anderson Reed as well. Reed also slightly injured from yesterday's crash, but he said he just wants to drive it anyway. He doesn't think the 63 truck will be in anything. He's in the top 20, though, so it must not be hurting him. And Patrick Smith as well. Turner's pretty much out of the chase. Vince Freeze could be with that damage. Hagan and Sladek and possibly Fletcher are out, but Fletcher and these guys back here, these 12, last season, the race win was won by some fuel strategy and a caution. This could be fuel strategy and a caution for these 12 drivers. We'll see how much better their tires are. They have about, I'd say, 17 laps fresher tires than the field, but they barely have 17 laps to go in this race. We'll see what'll happen. Does anyone have enough fuel to make it to the end who didn't pit that last time? Green flags in the air, and we're racing again at Chicagoland. That 60 truck is real slow in the middle of the field back there as we are up front. Eves now to the inside of Eric Monica right on that bumper. Lane into fourth. Stephen Wallace Jr. clear to fifth as Austin Johnson moves through the middle. Eli Bright dropping back like a rock. Caution, yellow flag is back out. And it's Matt Sladek who goes around at the back. Now you got a ton of trucks on the bottom. That's going to be Evan Hunter and Austin Delgado, two Auto drivers bouncing off the wall. I think that was because of Vince Freeze, who was real slow right off the bat in that 60 truck. He was holding him up, and we got another truck around. It's Aiden Smith in the 83, who's been turned around in front of the field, almost into Roger Ray as he comes on down. And Vince Freeze has to be cackling in that truck. Aiden Smith goes around, coming back to the caution as they're going to have a stack up at the back here. Alex Fletcher's truck already damaged as Aiden Smith's trying to make his way through in the 83. He needs to get back to his position. And we got a lot going on here. Cobbs of Monaco, Eves, Lane, and Stephen Wallace Jr. remain your top five, but Austin Johnson's now up into six. That's big for Daniel Cobbs' point here, because now he might be in a must-win scenario with the 77 being this high up, as well as the 4. We're under caution for the third time today on this restart here at Chicagoland. Calamity on this restart here for the third caution of the day. Yepes 4 wide. They're 4 wide into the corner. That's not going to work. You're going to see Yepes hits the apron up into the 46 and the 0, and there's just no room for anyone to go. Ton of trucks get hooked around in that, and a couple trucks torn up badly. The 0, the 46 in that. But you see Yepes went 4 wide. They're trying to get a move done on the restart here. Yepes gets into the 46, then the 0, the 2. Irving Allison actually is the one that hooks the 46 in, and then Irving comes back up and tears that 46 truck up when he hit the wall. Looking out the back bumper of Vince Freeze, you're going to see how this crash occurred. You see Yepes just poke a nose to the inside. Sladek has to move up. Yepes then moves up a little bit, hooks them all, and many trucks go around with some big hits to the 46 and 01. On board with Zach Rogers, if you keep looking at that left side, you see just how slow it is, and they all stack up here as you see Matthew Brown shooting the gap on the outside 4 wide. What a move by that driver to get out of this one, but you see them all make contact. Rogers actually gets hooked up there. Barely taps the 2, but gets out pretty much cleanly. The rest of it, 4 wide, is going to cause the big one here with multiple trucks involved in race number 2 of this doubleheader weekend. Takes Alex Fletcher and Matt Sladek definitely out of the championship hunt. But here is what happened to Aiden Smith as they came back to caution. Antoine Smith, Riley Spurley-Tube get together with Aiden. We're under caution for the third time today at Chicagoland. Coming back live here at Chicagoland. As it stands, Cobbsa, Johnson, Stephen Wallace Jr., Eric Monaco would be your 4 in the chase. That is determined upon Cobbsa winning this race, though Austin Johnson, as it stands in 6th, he would be pretty much, like, this is no joke. He might have to gain a spot to put himself in. Right now, Aiden Smith is worried about that 77. That is the battle right there now. for the wild card, because if Austin Johnson points in, Kabza doesn't, Smith is out. If Johnson doesn't point in, then Smith is in. You also got Vince Freeze. They took that 60 truck behind the wall and repaired, or onto pit road and tried to repair it. We'll see if he meets minimum speed now. Coming down the back straightaway, Kabza, Monaco, Johnson, Downey, Bright. Those guys in the top 10, including Peter Onjak in 11th, a win puts them into the chase pretty much no matter what. Stephen Wallace Jr., he's pretty much locked in if he comes out with the top 10. Alex Peters already locked in, so is Matthew Eaves, and Eaves has that regular season title locked up with a good finish today. Pretty much over the 28 and 00. Coming down the front straightaway. 11 laps to go in the McCafe 300. Green flags in the air, and we're racing again at Chicagoland. Down into turn 1 and 2. Eaves is going to be the one jumping up the inside in that 48 truck as they come down this back straightaway. The curvy back straightaway Chicagoland, it's unique to this track, makes it different than the likes of Kansas and others, as now Eaves is going to be the one to jump to the inside of Kabza. That's for the lead. Stephen Wallace Jr. in the 98 making his move to third. And here comes Austin Johnson needing to point his way in as Daniel Kabza sees his chase hopes disappear with that battle for the race lead. Kabza might need to win in front of the home crowd. It's the 48 and 44 fighting for the race lead, just like old times at Chicagoland. As Stephen Wallace Jr. defensive on Austin Johnson down this back straightaway. Both of them staying to the bottom, third and fourth. Colton Lane up to fifth. Eli Bright, Downey, they need to win this race if they're going to make the chase. Here comes Spurleytube in that 28. Eaves is out in front. That is all that he needs, though, is Onjak. He's looking to point his way in if he can get on up there. Charles Sanford in the 35 looking for a great finish after taking that driver swap under caution a while back. Eaves versus Kabza up in front, though, as they come off the corner. They are long gone. It's a two-truck race for this race win, barring no caution. And Kabza sends it in. He's got the momentum. Looking back to the bottom on the 48. Eaves blocks it, though, and they are nose to tail coming off the corner. Kabza stays right in line with Matthew Eaves. Kabza has never won a Crown Royal Truck Series event. He has 4 Mountain Dew Custom Series wins from last season. As he fights that, I saw him 3 wide back here. Eli Bright moving that 8 truck into the top 5. A caution could get him a chance at the chase if we do have one. Top 2 are gone. Austin Johnson clearing to 3rd. Monaco 5th. That could lock up 7th and 8th right there, and that could be Stephen Wallace Jr.'s chance. He's going to lock himself into the chase, I think. And Aiden Smith back there in the 83, he's hoping that this 44 does not win, because if Kabza wins and Johnson's 3rd, then Kabza takes the wild card spot over Aiden Smith as they come through 1 and 2 again. Remember, Chicagoland's race 1 was only the 2nd time this season we've had a repeat winner. Eaves and Peters are the 2 repeat winners this season, and currently it's Matthew Eaves out in front looking for his 3rd win on the year. Daniel Kabza looking for his 1st career Truck Series win, but he's losing time to the 48 truck down the front straightaway. Johnson, Stephen Wallace Jr., Monaco, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. All 3 of these guys have done what they needed to do to put themselves into the chase this season. And this is what they're doing right now. Brayton 6th, Lane 7th. There's Spurleytube up to 10th. He's putting a valiant effort. He's going to at least lock up 2nd. And Charles Sanford is driving the wheels off that thing for Jose Perez right now in that 35 truck. A fantastic drive, and I'm sure Perez is on that pit box still enjoying every second of it as we got Kabza coming back at Eaves for the race lead. 5 to go this time by. Kabza, will he look to the inside? He tucks in right behind that 48 once again. He needs to get some momentum here and swing around that 48. We'll see what they can do as that brings Austin Johnson up into the fight with SWJ and Monaco. That top 5 fighting, the only one that matters. 4 of these guys are locked in. Kabza needs to beat all 4 of them to make it into the chase. Down this front straightaway, Eaves leads him across the line again. 4 laps to go this time by. Battle for 4th heating up. Monaco looking to the inside of SWJ. These guys don't need to fight. They're fighting for points, and that's really what Monaco's looking at. He only entered this race 4 points ahead of Johnson, so he wants to make sure he's right behind Austin to keep that 7th in the standings. Look at Sanford in that 35 truck tearing through. Here comes Spurley-Tube to the inside of Mitchell. Onjak's going to be too little too late. Nicky Morris. Remember, Morris has those fresher tires. We're right there as we come down this front straightaway. Matthew Eves in the 44 is out in front over Daniel Kobza. And here we go for those top spots here coming down the back straightaway again. Monaco now looking to the inside of Johnson. Well, not going to be looking to the inside, but they're fighting there for second, or third and fourth for the scraps behind Kobza and Eves. Coming around, we've only got a handful of laps to go. Matthew Eves on the top spot over Kobza down the front straightaway. Here we go. It's only 3 to go this time by. And Kobza's getting the momentum in the 44. Here he comes with a big run on the 48 truck. Down the back straightaway. Johnson is there in third, but here comes Kobza. He's going to send it to the bottom. Trying to get by Eves. Not going to work that time. Coming on around for Matthew Eves. The white flag in the air for the 48 truck of Matthew Eves down the front straightaway for the final time. He's over Kobza by a good margin, and Kobza needs to win this race to make the chase. I think he's going to come up just short. Down the back straightaway for the final time. Matthew Eves in the 48. He's gone to victory lane twice this season already, and he's going to hang on over Daniel Kobza. Third time this year for TSR. Eves is going to win the race, and Kobza is going to miss the chase. As the rest of the field cycles across the line. Zachary Fitzwater was down pit road. He might have ran out of fuel there at the end. But Daniel Kobza comes up just short in the 44. Will not get the chance to race for a championship this year. And he's going to turn Austin Johnson there. I don't know if that's just frustration with Johnson recovering to a good finish or what, but they make contact. Johnson goes spinning. And that was dangerous with those guys coming on around still. Kobza's out of the chase. That pretty much should lock in Stephen Wallace Jr., Aiden Smith, who comes home. He comes home 28th, but Freeze was 34th. Aiden Smith should be in with Austin Johnson, Eric Monaco, and Stephen Wallace Jr. That should be your group in. We'll make sure that's confirmed when we show you the point standings. Matthew Eves, third win on the season, and that will be his hope at a championship there, as he will lead the regular season title by a large margin now over the rest of the field. Riley Spurley-Tube, Antoine Smith, Alex Peters, Ryan Butcher, Jose Perez would be the other ones in, with Charles Sanford driving that 35 to a 6th place position there at the end. A fantastic drive there. Monaco Johnson should be in as well. Stephen Wallace Jr. and Aiden Smith. That should mean Onjak Kobza, who was leading until that final restart, is out of the chase. So should be Gatlin Downey, Eli Bright, Hagan, Alex Fletcher, Vince Freeze, Matt Sladek, Jesse Turner, and Patrick Smith. What a wild finish here. We had the wild card drivers fighting each other, contact spinning, crashes all over. Couple big hitters taken out in some incidents, but at the end, it was Matthew Eves sneaking on through for his third win on the season. And it looks like just like the 48 in the Cup Series, the intensity turns up as soon as the chase hits. 2 great races at Chicagoland. We had fun on this doubleheader weekend. We thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time on the NSDCA.